den
Lad
knap.
os se, hvad der sker. Der står i hvert fald noget med live deroppe nu. Hvad hvis vi opdaterer her nu? Okay.
Yep, we're live.
They're live.
Ja, den er live nu. Hvad hedder det?
All right.
Alright, let's assume we already got some listeners. I'm just gonna share the link on X. Just give me a moment. Where is the post? We're live. Okay. I think we're live. I'm gonna switch position here. Yeah, it's not so professional, eh? Okay, we're live. Game week 32. I don't have any idea on how many are watching, but okay, we already got 20 watching. Okay, thank you everyone who's tuned in. I'm very, very grateful to be joined by managers that I see far better than myself. So I think let's just do a quick intro. I'm FPL Physio. Mainly I write on X where I share some injury updates and also do a lot of shit posting. Currently ranked 46, which is insanely good, but the universe would want it that a fellow Dane is higher ranked than me, and he has joined us today. So welcome to you, Eric, also known as the FPL Study on X. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a long day, exams and all, and now I'm just sitting here tired talking about football. But that's what a nice way to end the day, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy season. To be number one, it feels. I don't even think I really understand it, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
How do you, before we jump to Simon and Thomas, how have you felt during this insanely long break? Extra nervous, or did you get some time off and touch some grass, or is FPL just constantly in your head when you're not number one?
It's been terrible, actually. I think I've considered every single option for my chip plan like 17 times, which has been super frustrating and annoying because I still don't even think I know what I want to do. But also because like any choice I make, I feel like it's the wrong one. I can make any argument for why another one is better than the other.
Yeah.
But I'll have to make one. So, and I can't just not use them. So we'll see. But I honestly, having a longer break has just been, it's been fun to be a bit longer, number one, but it's also a bit stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all could imagine. Before we dive deep into all your thoughts and ideas and so on, we also got Simon here, Aesel FC on X. Also in the top 5K. It's a crazy lineup that we got today. Welcome once again, Simon.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's quite an honor to be joined by these brilliant managers, and I'm looking forward to some nerdy FPL chip talk. Most people might know me as the former winner of FPL, just the other way around, anti-FPL, that I won, well, exactly 2 years ago. So now I'm chasing, well, the opposite and try to climb as high on the FPL ladder that I can. Here we are.
Awesome. That would be one hell of a back-to-back if you could both win the anti-FPL and the FPL. That would be something. And then we got FPL Bronx Thomas here, who yeah, Thomas, introduce yourself because I think we're also gonna you're gonna take us behind the scenes.
Hopefully. And I'm also grateful to be here with some very good managers. It's not very often I'm in a room with 3 other people who can accumulate their ranks and multiply them by 2 and still beat me. I'm currently the 2nd overall rank over the past 4 years, and I expect to end the season there as well. And hopefully today we'll talk different strategies and a bit of data more than just projection models.
Absolutely. Okay, let's kick it off. Let's. I think we're gonna answer questions as they come in. Let's. Thomas, do you want to start? I think the first question for all of us would be: so, what chip strategy are we currently on, and why? Do you want to start there, Thomas?
Sure. So,
And do you want me to share your draft or?
Yeah, just in 30 seconds maybe, because I just want to add a little bit of perspective, because my path onto this game week was so that I could hopefully not do a wildcard now before bench boosting in 33. So my hope for the FA Cup weekend was that Arsenal would make it through, Chelsea would make it through, Leeds would make it through, and either Man City or Liverpool making it through. That would have meant that I could have put out 15 doublers in game week 33, but unfortunately Arsenal missed out. So that means I'm already quite set up on Bournemouth and Leeds, but also not enough to actually can go deep enough into this. And now I think we can pull up the draft, because it is still one of the things that I may consider in case we get news that Timber is healthy, to actually not wildcard and then go into 33 on a different strategy. I don't think that it's likely that we first of all get those news, and secondly, even if we get the news, I'm not sure I'll do it either way. But here is where I currently am on my draft. So I think the goalkeeper setup is what we'll probably see a lot of in the engaged managers for Brooklyn and Darlow. A little bit of uncertainty around Darlow and Perry, but seems like most of the fans are not as concerned there. Then I've set up with Van Heck and Kadioglu for a triple Brighton defense. Senesi, one of my favorites, and Pascal Stroik as the doublers for 33, along with Gabriel for one more week in the team. Then onto the midfield, the Tavernier and Scott pairing for Bournemouth. You can say that Tavernier is definitely a lock. Scott could be debated around Hill and going double Bournemouth defense. Bruno Fernandes has to go in for the captaincy this weekend. Semenyo should probably be in the team, but I think we can talk a little bit about him as well. And Palmer must come in, just like Haaland, and I think João Pedro as well should be must-haves on a wildcard 32. And then Thiago in the end, which means that I have 3 non-33 doublers on my wildcard as it stands right now: Gabriel, Bruno Fernandes, and Thiago. Which is maybe a little bit greedy, but I think we can talk about that when others have shared their drafts too. But I actually want to stay quite flexible, because we get some more information on where the title is heading after this week, when Man City has played Chelsea and Arsenal has played Bournemouth as well. Because this leaves me open to having a third lead spot, both in defense and in midfield, or even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and also choosing my Man City third spot a week later. And I have a few different ways to go there. And being O'Reilly is obviously hugely popular. I think I like Mark Gahey just as well, who is already in Eric's team, by the way. I'm even thinking of going someone like Rodri, but I think we can elaborate a little bit more on that later.
One of the first
and I am on a free hit 34 strategy as well. So I'll spend, and I don't have the triple captaincy chip, so the last 3 chips in the 3 coming game weeks.
Yeah, so one of the things that I noted first is that you actually draft a central midfielder of Bournemouth, Alex Scott. Can you talk me through how and why?
The hard part about this wildcard is definitely the third Brighton spot. And there's a lot of talk around Gross, Matoma in midfield, or Kadioglu in defense is an option. Obviously, Welbeck too, but I doubt he's going to start both of the double. And so that means either you go Brighton mid instead of Alex Scott, and then a defender from Bournemouth in Hill, probably. Trafford you could go, but probably Hill. The other way around here, where I put Scott in, is like, I think, first of all, Brighton has looked really good defensively recently, and I like the covariance of the triple defense setup to chase some rank. That's one reason, but actually the main reason is that Scott has some wild stats over the last 10 game weeks, and some very, very beautiful minutes as well, which you cannot say about the Brighton mids. Instinctive and others from that know a lot about Brighton have good ideas about, or good feelings about Matoma, but I'm not so sure. So that's why. And Alex Scott is basically the Elliot Anderson, or what you would call it for a Bournemouth team. Great DEFCON potential. He actually has quite nice both expected goals and expected assist stats as well, up around the mid 30s or midpoint 30s per 90. So yeah, that's why.
I mean, something I thought about, like, just to be critical, like, just to be the devil's advocate, is like, if you're gonna have 3 people playing like a single fixture, why not just double in 35 when the fixtures are better and you have better players being doubled, or playing like single games on the bench? Because then you could hypothetically just wildcard at 33 and have a better team and planning more ahead, and you could also double game, like bench boost in a double game in a game week where the bench would also have stronger, except for doubling goalkeeper. If you're gonna go that route, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so wildcarding 33 and then bench boosting in 35, 36. Oh, he dropped. Did Eric drop out?
Yeah, I
Seems
think
like
so. He'll return eventually, I guess.
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
I understood the question correctly. Then that is definitely on or has been on my radar as well. My problem with that is that it comes a bit late compared to the wildcard. You have to get over 34, and you get a lot of new information, especially when we reach around game week 35. Rob T has shared some nice graphics with how some teams can be mathematically wrapped up, but I think that you have to look even before that, because some of them, even though they're not mathematically locked up for a place in the league, they will still know fairly certainly in which area they are. But it has been in consideration, and it's actually close. I'll give it that. But I think the navigation point I can get to in 35 with this team is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I think Eric is still here. Can you hear us, Eric? I just texted him and said he was still. So maybe we just lost him on his end. But okay, interesting. I think this is personally, I haven't looked into Scott at all. But you always seems to surprise me, Thomas. How many? Maybe I didn't get it, but how many free transfers do you have?
I have 4 3 4 4 free transfers right now.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Did you get the answer?
Yeah, I did. I heard everything.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
Which is weird.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think
And
okay,
Thomas,
great. Sorry,
yeah, I
Simon.
had a question for Thomas. So if you had to put like percentages on your last city spot, Nico Riley, Cherky, or even the likes of Rodri, like what are the percentages that they will end up on your final wildcard team? You think, just on top of your head?
They won't end in the wildcard team very likely. They will probably come in
Oh,
33,
sorry,
right?
but in the double
I
33,
think
sorry.
if I had to put percentages, I would say probably 50 to 60% McGahey, and then probably 50-50 split between Nico O'Reilly and Rodri.
Okay, because
And
it's where
the reason
it's.
for that is that with the Leeds update we got today is still a bit shaky. So I'm not really certain where I want to go, and I'm still not. It's hard, right? But DCL, I don't think he'll play the second game from the beginning, and that's what keeps a bit of hold on it. And on top of that, the fixtures for Leeds are looking better from a defensive standpoint when I look into the data.
We got
Yeah,
I'm
And
just
also
gonna
we
jump
got the
in here and
Inter,
says
which is where I want to go with Bruno. So probably not Rodri.
you got some fans in the chat. We got I assume it's
Oh yeah.
FPL Spaceman here. He says loving the Alex Scott propaganda. That's absolutely spot on.
Yeah,
Great.
that's
But we
probably
also
why
got
he.
I think JC started
we
that.
also yeah, okay.
Or his prediction
JC
model
started it.
started that. Solio loves Alex Scott, from what I've read.
Okay. That makes sense then that somehow Alex Scott found his way into Thomas's team. Okay, we got a question here from Michael Newton, 9341, to all of you. What are your thoughts on wildcarding for really good teams in 32 and 34 and free hitting in 33? He says the 33 bench boost doublers are not that great. What would be your take on this?
Yeah,
So
so I
does
covered it.
game week,
I
yeah.
Yeah, so I covered it partly in my thread on X today that the free hit 33 is definitely still a viable strategy. It I would personally like to throw, if I play free hit 33, to play the wild card in 35 or something, and rely on the team that I already have for 32. It has to be decent. It could have some differentials such as Mbemo or Suboslai. Then it would be really viable both as they have two decent home fixtures both in 32 and 34. And then you could like manage 32 and 34 and the free hit 33 in between before wildcarding with new information on the likes of Crystal Palace in 35. I think that would probably be the ideal way.
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna throw it over to you, Eric, and as the number currently number one, when you look at the next coming game weeks, mainly 32, 33, 34, are you? And I know you don't want to share your plan, but how do you see the current hype around the wildcard 32 bench boost 33? Maybe hype is the wrong word because it's a very very great path compared to, let's say, free hit 33, as Michael Newton also mentioned here.
It's strange, I think, without Arsenal. Because if Arsenal had been through with Arsenal and Newcastle, every single person in the world would have wildcarded now. Like, it would have been a given. And everyone would have pretty much the same team with maybe 3 or 4 players different, I think. And now that they
God damn it! Are you still here, Rick? Eric, hold your horses.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back. You're back. So
Hello?
just rewind 20 seconds.
Okay, what was the last thing I said?
Some of the
Something
teams
with
on wildcard 3
yeah.
4 different players.
Yeah. I think it looks really rough to bench boost in that double game week. That's what I think. And I think throwing all your tools out of the shed just for getting 4 players to double game week or 3, because you probably have Bruno, does not look that good in my opinion. I might end up doing that. I just don't think that that's that insane. But I also really do understand getting it out of the way, like getting bench boost out of the way and thinking, okay, now I have 6 more weeks where I don't have to think about where the hell I have to use my bench boost, which I also think is a really good thing. Palace, I'm not a big fan of loading up on wild carding in 35 and loading up on Palace players because I don't think that those players doubling are going to be worth it. Kind of like the players that are playing in 33 because they don't really have. And Palace will probably have nothing to play for. Like they're
Yeah.
above relegation, they're away from Europe.
Eric, you're lagging a
Hello?
bit again, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, you're back again.
It's a weird situation with you have to use your chips, but how do I use it effectively? But I don't really think there's a way where you just use it perfectly effectively without Arsenal being in the double and Newcastle. I think you kind of just accept that the weaker players are doubling, and that's how it is. I don't think there's a perfect way to use the chips. I just think you just need to try to use it as best as it fits your team. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
sure.
think that's the
And we
easiest way to
gotta
put
make
it.
our decisions now because, like, now price changes are predicted to happen. Live FPL have O'Reilly and Senesi to probably rise, and I heard other price prediction model even have Haaland to rise. Most of us have Haaland, but some of us went Salah a month ago or something. And Ekitike and Mbemo are falling, are dropping in price. So we soon have to make a decision, most of us at least.
Oh wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Eric, so are you basically saying that you think the correct me if I'm wrong, but are you saying that you think Wildcard 32 Bench Boost 33 is a bit overhyped because you don't see Bench Boost 33 as, as has such an upside potential as people have given it, or how should I understand it?
I mean, think about it this way, maybe. Like, I mean, what is the worst? I mean, some of the game is actually really good. Like Leeds' games are really good, and Bournemouth actually have pretty good games.
And
But if you
Brighton
think
as
about
well.
that, and Brighton as well, yeah. But it's just kind of rough doubling games. Like there aren't any games where you think, "Wow, I have to have this player," you know. Other than, and that's why I think like Holland against Palace and Brentford later. That looks incredible, in my opinion.
If they have something to play for.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Eric, you dropped out again, but yeah, and you're almost. I hope your connection works when you have to press wildcard or free hit or bench boost or whatever you're going to do. I really hope your connection doesn't. And he's dropped out. I think he'll join us back in. I think
Yeah.
Spaceman also has JC has another question for that I think is really interesting for me and Eric if we look much at the teams of the other managers near the top and try to predict what they might do and adapt their strategy accordingly. But let's get back to that. Simon, I think let's Eric is joining again here.
All
Eric is
right,
back again.
now let's play it stable now. Let's play.
It's okay. Shit happens when you do like amateur live YouTube shows, so it's completely fine.
First of all, this is not amateur. This is one of the most professional.
Indeed, indeed.
Simon, let's jump. Okay, holy moly, I didn't. Simon, this is your draft, right?
Yeah, that's my draft right now. A disclaimer: I haven't pressed the wildcard button yet. I'm still, considering considering three different chip strategies. I'm considering the template one with wildcard 32, bench boost 33, and free hit 34. I'm also considering to free hit 33, wildcard 35, and bench boost 36 or even 37. And then I'm also considering wildcarding 33 and free hitting 34 and bench boosting probably in 35. So that's the disclaimer behind this team, because this might be the most template of the template teams of wildcard 32. We have Verbruggen in goal. He has a brilliant fixture versus Burnley already this game week, so he's kind of locked into the wildcard. And the same goes with Darlow at a price at 3.9. He's like an excellent choice for the bench boost next week. And then, I have Van Hecke to join Verbruggen for the decent fixture with Burnley. And then I have Gabriel, who doesn't double in 33, but he has so much predicted points for this week in particular. And then right now I have Nico Riley, but I'm just like Thomas, considering starting wildcarding only with two Manchester City players, to have the flexibility to decide which one goes into the third slot. And then I have the template team of midfield, of Palmer, Fernandes, Semenyo, Tavernier, and Mitoma. And I haven't fact checked this, but I read somewhere on X today that Mitoma only has a single goal contribution in the last 16 games or something, which is concerning. And also the fact that he went out injured a month ago and only played like one half in the international, in one of the matches in the international break a week ago. And then I committed to have right now the three doublers in the forward spots with Joao Pedro, Holland, and Calvert-Lewin. And the one I'm most uncertain about here is definitely Calvert-Lewin, because I'm not sure either that he starts all the matches, also considering that Leeds advanced to the semifinals of the FA Cup. I'm not quite sure he'll start the second match of game week 33, which makes me want to go back to Thiago that I already have in my current in my current team. And finally, I have double Bournemouth on the bench. They face Arsenal away, the toughest fixture in the league this game week, and then Pascal Struijk, who has an outside chance of taking penalties, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Felix Nmecha, and probably a third one isn't on the pitch either at the same time.
Yeah. Or yeah. Okay, interesting.
So roast me.
Okay. I'll be glad.
Where's the third ball?
Huh?
Where's your third Bournemouth asset? Alex Scott?
Yeah, like I consider like I'm really considering Alex Scott because like you've talked about Alex Scott all day in our group chat and talked him up, and I'm like he's the he's the Bournemouth Anderson. So I might, well, on a serious note, swap Mitoma with Alex Scott, and then go triple Brighton defense because the upside is there against Burnley, and I love defensive covariance.
See, JC is still here. I'll note that you can't change the stats of Alex Scott high enough on Solio so for it to match his season-long expected goals per 90.
Yeah, if I think you already kind of answered my question. What other player would you have picked if you didn't go with Mitoma? Because I don't know where the Mitoma hype comes from, and
Yeah,
I honestly don't know. I haven't had him in a single draft, but
yeah,
that's my own personal opinion. But so if Mitoma out, then Alex Scott in, and then you go ultimate Kovar on Brighton defense.
yeah. That's a legit possibility for me, and I want to say that the fifth midfield spot is definitely the most complicated one on the wild card. Mitoma
Yeah.
is the obvious choice, but on paper at least. But you can go Alex Scott. You can even go Ryan, the right winger from Bournemouth. And I've also seen some draft where you actually go with a single game week player like Anthony Gordon, because he has such brilliant fixtures from game week 35 and onwards. So it saves yourself the transfer, but it kind of dilutes the bench boost in a way, or will double somewhere probably in 36. I've also seen him in a few teams as well, and well, that's the fifth midfielder spot is definitely the hardest one to nail, I think, on this wildcard 32.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agree.
you mentioned Alex Scott as like a defensive, like, I don't know, consistency, I guess. But I've seen like Ampadu. I don't know why I'm such a big fan of Ampadu, but he's just been like super great lately. And if you look, and like, I read a statistic that he has the fourth highest most defensive contributions in the league this season. Where for me, I'm like, if I want to play safe points and make sure I can maybe get double DefCon in my double game week, that's who I'd go for. Like if I want to look to score 8 points with one player, that's who I want to go for. 6 to 8, guarantee that. That's where I'm looking. Um, but that's, and also Ampadu. But that's also the thing. Like, when would Ampadu even play after that? Like, he wouldn't really be the one with the attacking upside. He'd just be that six anchor who gets those DefCon contributions. A bit like a Rice, but just without the free kick and the attacking upside, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's definitely also an option. And then you probably have to like not go with Calvert-Lewin, because I feel like Pascal Stoic, with the news about the injuries in the Leeds defense, is the most nailed one, and even has an outside chance of being on penalty. Sorry, and you also have Darlow, the 3.9, probably starting goalkeeper. Then you have to go without Calvert-Lewin if you actually want to go with Ampadu as in the fifth midfield spot. That's also a legit option.
Yeah.
Okay. There was just some, sorry to interrupt, some said in the chat that there is no sound, but okay, fine for a lot of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've also just touched on the Ampadu. I've had a really hard time for the fifth spot on the midfield as well, and Ampadu was one of the ones I'm looking at. Also because I'm a I absolutely loved having Elliot Anderson in my team because it just feels like it's the most secure point. So I totally get your view on that, Eric. Just to kind of elaborate on that, because that also kind of talks into your strategy, right? Because I think you've in former interviews you talked about your strategy being just trying to beat the average. So would you say that you're approaching these final game weeks as with the same strategy, which for some might sound how do you say it, a bit
Conservative
conservative,
or what?
yeah, or how do you see it?
I mean, that's why I think like a wildcard 33 might look a lot more comfortable. Like if I want to
Hmm.
think long term, like instead of burning out now, because I see it a bit as like you're burning your wood. Like if you go 32, 33, 34 in my eyes, because you're going to be
Yeah,
wildcarding in 13 to 14 players who will all be doubling, but not necessarily. But I like for me, for example, I'll be having 10 mil left over my bank if I wildcard in this team. Like I would rather
yeah,
than have a double game week where I can maybe afford like a whole Isak extra on my team or something. I don't know if Isak's the best example, but
Yeah.
another premium asset to then double gate like to then bench boost into.
You've
That's
treated a
also a thing I need
pill
to
like
consider.
Monopoly.
Yeah, I just pick and play. It's kind of weird now.
Yeah,
But
but
that's why I think a
I, I
33 is more interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and I think for in your kind of unique position, a wildcard 33, you have a brilliant team for 32. Firstly, and secondly, wildcard 33 gives you 1 week more of information, and you're essentially, let's say a bench boost gives like whatever 16 or even 20 points or something, you're hit by that amount of points, so you're essentially a bench boost ahead of number 2 in the world. So that gives you time to be like both reactive and decide when you have to be aggressive, if that makes sense. That's why I think the wildcard 33 actually suits your team quite well.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
also because then I could hypothetically get like Henderson on the bench, for example. So I could already start
Yeah,
preparing
exactly,
for the Crystal Palace games. And I could get,
exactly.
I like hypothetically, I could get Henderson, Gabriel, Bruno, and maybe Thiago on my bench, hypothetically. And then
Yeah,
get 11 doublers on my starting 11. And then I'm already like 4 players, 2 or 3 players ahead of what I need to be coming out of 33 and 34, if that makes sense.
yeah, and you
And
don't
then I can
lose any
be in
like
35
sale
with
value.
exactly, exactly.
So
Yeah,
you
it's
but
a
keep
weird
your
situation. It's a
how
weird
many free
situation.
transfers do you have, Eric?
I only have one right now, so that's also why I think 33 is a lot more appealing for me. Because then I
Yeah,
can plan
yeah,
to game week 38 instead of having to get to 35 with 2 transfers and have to make 5 changes. Yeah.
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 So I might want to sacrifice a little bit of a weaker bench boost, but for a much
Mm,
stronger team until game week 38.
yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the general consensus is also that wildcard 32 is like a heavier FT path, at least if you
yeah.
look at current projection models. Um, like just to be a little bit of devil's advocate in that too is that you will look into something where we don't know a lot. So if we play even if you want to do the wildcard in 35 or 33 for the long run where we want to keep Arsenal players and stuff, they can be not worth it if they clinch the title early. And I tried to look into this, like what kind of spot would I be in 35 if I knew in 35 that Arsenal had basically won the league, and like the projections if I solve without Arsenal are not too far off if I do with Arsenal. And I think that's what has swayed me towards like going a little bit greedy now and doing the 3 single game weekers for 1 game week, and then potentially even selling them all in game week 33 if we get the info that I'm sort of hoping of, if you will.
Mm.
But which spot in Arsenal are the most prone to rotation, really? I can't. Well, I can see them play maybe if they secure the title, win against City, and secure the title by game week 35. That they might play Kepe in one odd game or something, and they might play Hincapie, and they might play well instead of Gabriel in the odd game. But yeah, I need an expert opinion on where in Arsenal that you expect rotation to really occur.
The problem is probably that we don't know, and that's
Yeah.
even worse because we can't plan for it.
Yeah.
So we don't even know in which pockets we need to fill it out. That would be my main concern with that.
Yeah.
Also, we have a World
That
Cup coming up. That's like a lot of shaky stuff into the last 4 game weeks.
I mean, the overall argument against, waiting to use your chips until 35 or 36 or having any chips left would be uncertainty, right? Because like we don't know what will happen, and I think, and it's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but let's say Arsenal have won the league in 35 to 36. I can't remember when they can do the earliest. City is probably set at second. I have this weird feeling that because of the World Cup, I think the national teams will push insane to
mm,
not play any players who have nothing to play for. We already saw it with Haaland, how he didn't play for the Norwegian national team. We saw how Arsenal had 10 injured players coming back from their national duty. I think the national teams will feel like they're in a the clubs owe them some, and for any Saka, Timber, who it might be, to be injured in useless games in 36, 37, 38. I mean, I think if the league is set, we're gonna see so crazy rotation amongst especially Arsenal, City, and whoever is set, especially for the players going to the World Cup. I think it's gonna be intense. So for if you're on a late chip usage, then I think. I'm not on that, but then we must hope that the league is not set yet. At some point, that's how I see it.
No, I agree with that. I see it the same way. I mean, I could imagine like if City lose the league in 3 weeks, Holland is not going to play a single game until the season's over, because he's not going to risk not going to the World Cup with Norway for the first time ever
Yeah,
to want to play some random league games where their position is set and have no Champions League and only have FA Cup.
yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's also why like any team, any person who's gonna use 3 chips now in the next 4 game weeks, they'll have 3, 4 transfers come game week 34, 35. You know, so even if I have only
yeah,
one now, if I dead end my team and use 3 out of 4 chips the next 4 game weeks, I'll still have 4 going into 35 or 3 into 35, 4 into 36. I think it is how my team would look. But that's still great because it gives me that flexibility or whatever I need to do that later, right? Yeah, I don't know. I completely
yeah,
agree with that opinion at least.
Yeah, I think if for the solver people out there, like we've had a really long time where we wanted a very high free transfer value because we wanted to stack them up a lot because we had these information cliffs, which was for this game week, and that now we know how the fixtures have landed, and now it kind of flips into being more DK oriented. That we can't really we have to discount the future points way harder, but not necessarily look at FTs with the same value as previously. So the uncertainty parameter for the solvers, I think, have switched over this game week.
You mean that the free transfer value falls, like in terms of the value of it, or what do you mean?
Yeah, no, yeah. So previously it was way higher because we knew we wanted a lot now because we wanted to make certain changes because of the fixed changes. Whereas for the future now, it's just uncertain what the prediction or predicted points will be in the future. Whereas we kind of knew for players in this like midterm up just before the last part of the run-in. If we go like 5 game weeks or 10 game weeks back.
Yeah,
But
it's
wouldn't
messy.
wouldn't the value of wouldn't the value of the free transfers also be, wouldn't they be quite valuable if we do see quite a lot of rotation towards the end?
Naturally, if we see something very extreme where there's a lot of players that all of a sudden don't play, they will be valuable. I just think that like if it's free transfers to go back into Arsenal and that kind of stuff, it's more about the uncertainty which ones we have to pick.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And how much
because
the upside is, because there's so much uncertainty around the players.
And
we have a good question.
Spaceman asks, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, read it out.
Oh, yeah. Is it the one you just saw come up now, or what? Which one do you mean?
Yeah, by JC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly. So is that the case for Wildcard 32, Bench Boost 33, Free Hit 34 to get more chips down now, to have more certainty rather than using it later when we expect more rotation?
I think so.
I think that's what your point is, Thomas. Is like that's what the value is now because we know these players are going to play. We know these players still have something to play for. So, like, if we know they have to do this now, then like a wildcard 32, 33 is like what you want to do. You could hypothetically went for 33 to see what happens with the Chelsea game, Chelsea City and Arsenal. What's it called? Arsenal. Bournemouth. Of course, we expect an Arsenal win. I guess I might have just jinxed it. That might not be so bad. But that's also why bench 33 then gets so safe because you'll have players that will play. You'll have big players that still have something to play for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said,
like,
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
If I think definitely the certainty right now is extremely important. Also, like classic chip solving is with no DK. Like I think you have to penalize yourself pretty hard if you go for bench boost 36 because you may not even be able to get 2 double game week keepers for one thing, and it may not even be possible to pick 3 players for Crystal Palace and Manchester City if the fixture lands there naturally. That will play in both games. So yeah, I think as JC asked, I think you should get it done now.
Yeah. So the key message is grab the value on the table right now. That's basically the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Crystal Palace is leading 2-0.
Oh my god, that's so good for the algorithm. Me as triple captain, oh my god, triple captain Holland 36.
Yeah, if he plays.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so
I'm
good.
still happy with my Gabrielty triple captain in 26. That was the right move.
I mean, if
No,
he
fair.
plays
It's true. I might have jinxed it now. Like City might have the league and it won't matter. Yeah.
It will be very exciting.
Eric, you're ranked number 1, and before the stream started, you talked about how one of the players very, very close to you ranked in the top 10. He messaged you, and I must say, from my point of view, listening to you the last hour here, like praising 3, 4 different strategies, I have no fucking idea where you're going. So you did a good job by not. I have no clue. Before I was kind of certain that you would. Okay, he's gonna wildcard a 33. Now I'm like, I have no freaking idea. You're gonna wildcard a 32. You're gonna. I have no clue. I have no idea. So, but
I mean, I gotta play the poker face.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're only on this stream to play mind games with the top 10, right?
Yeah, exactly. I hope they're watching now because now they're in my head. Now I'm in their head, right?
Eric, you and
I just had a look at
a
it
question
before we started. I think the wildcard 33 strategy is also cool. So it's not like you have to go wildcard 33 bench boost 33. Like let's see, there's options, but it's like for any team, I think it's really hard right now.
I think we've got to give some.
the way I'm trying to see it is I don't think there's one way you can go where it's completely wrong. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think a lot of managers have been saying like this is gonna be make or break here. I don't really see it that way. I think you could do it this way or that way. I think the point difference in the end it might be 10, 15 points. So
Mm.
I don't really think it's gonna be that big of a deal as people say it is. Yeah.
But that's the amount of points that you're leading FPL with, so quite decisive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that might be 10, 15 points in my favor. So we never know. We never know.
Sure.
We got a question here for mainly you and I, Eric. Mainly you. Let's be honest. Have you and I looked at much at the teams of other managers near the top and tried to predict what they might do and adapt their strategy accordingly? Are you looking a lot at the teams in the top 10, top 20, top 30, and thinking, okay, he might do this, or she might do that?
I mean, there's some players like when Gordon was so hyped. I think at least 4 or 5 of the people in the top 10 owned Gordon. So I was like, okay, if Gordon's looking this good, and already so many of my competitors already own him, it's a no-brainer for me to bring him in because it'll be a null for me either way. So
Yeah,
then I
it's kind of
have
a rank
like
rank
now
protection.
exactly. So if you look at the points from everyone in the top 10, it's only like maximum 8 to 10 points between us in a difference. But normally it's only like 3 to 4 points of difference because we almost have identical teams at the top 10. So it's a bit of a strange environment to be in. Captaincy now says so much, which is special. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Um, to be honest, I don't look at it. I think I need insane amount of luck to be close to um, you know winning. That's still my goal, but I doubt it. So let's. I think I'm the only draft that's missing. Here it is. Um, for disclaimer, Eric is not going to show his draft, of course, and I think all of us in this stream wouldn't do that either if we were number one. Um, so yeah, this is my current draft. Um, of course, the two same goalkeepers, as we almost all have. I'm going triple Brighton in the defense, keeping Gabriel. I have four free transfers, so that's why I'm on this draft is going quite aggressively, I would say. Then I'm stacking up on Senesi and Hill as well, um, and Semenyo, Bruno, Palmer, Tavernier. I think is those four are quite luck for me. I already have in Bemo, and I kept him in for now. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Um,
He dropped some
to
price
to
tonight.
Yeah, I know that, and that's why he's in my draft. um, he's and then Haaland, Calvert-Lewin, and Joao Pedro. Definitely Haaland and Joao Pedro are nailed there, I think. So the Mbemo is I don't know if it's too soon to to be a bit greedy. I think it's a very very greedy move. Um, I don't know if I like it, but I kind of do. Now he drops in price. That also does. Uh, that also means I need to take that into consideration. But I'm 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 all about stacking, um, and to be honest, I don't see. I think Thomas's argument about Welbeck early. I also don't think he's gonna play both games. We've seen twice the last 2 months where, and also coming from back-to-back goals, and then he suddenly started on the bench against Arsenal. Um, I'm not sure if it was back-to-back goals, but he has played regularly, and then all of a sudden he's on the bench. So I don't feel secure. I don't feel sure about Welbeck minutes. Brighton midfielders, mm, I don't know. I think there are better options. And I do really like, maybe Thomas, you can show us later some of those delicious Brighton uh, defensive stats. But yeah, so I think for now it's wildcard 32, but bench boost 33, um, and free hit 34, of course. Roast me.
Are you?
I have a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
go
we're
ahead.
ready to roast you, all of us, indeed.
Are you
See,
going for rank 1, Jeppe? If
Yeah.
like, do you actually want to give it a shout?
I think
Like,
okay.
Eric, don't listen.
I don't. I could play. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards going a bit template, but also a bit greedy, a bit risky. I'm
a
not
bit
ready to
yep.
risk it all yet. Yeah, a bit yet, which is 80% data and 20% let's fucking rock and roll. Yeah. Why
I
is
mean, are you gonna
does
take out
this?
Mbemo in the what's it called, in the double game week?
Yeah,
So this will be,
yeah.
so you'll have Verbruggen, you'll have triple. Okay, so like you're basically, if you Burnley has a clean sheet, it's the best week ever, and if they don't, you're crying. That's basically how we're going?
I rarely cry, but I might do it this time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, triple Burnley against them, like I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for you. Um, I mean,
I'm
the
actually
game, the team looks great for 32. Like it's completely fine for 32. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious why you select Mbomo or whatever we call him, the Manchester United midfielder, for the 1 week punt instead of Jared Bowen. Like, you could pick Jared Bowen instead of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and like get a week of knowledge to see if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is will injure himself somehow, because right now he's temporarily uninjured, which is quite quite a special case for him. So so
It's temporarily
so yeah,
uninjured.
I
That's
but yeah, but bottom line is that I feel the best 1 week punt, the backed up by data, backed up by the fact that he faces a relegation team, and backed up by the fact that the West Ham has to play like every match like it was the last in the Premier League. That Jared Bowen is definitely the best one week punt, but no one of us seems to have him on our teams.
I think Jared Bowen is it's hard to say that. I think he's overrated in the models because they take so much more context in that my brain can't. But I do think he's set too high. I don't, and I can't. It's not like I can back it up with some insane data because I can't. I just see that I feel the models rate Jared Bowen a bit high. Um, yeah, that's how that's my 20%. Uh, that where feelings and just subjective analysis come into play. I'm not a 100% data guy, so I don't, yeah, I don't get it.
I can back
Another,
you up, Jeppe. You've heard me talk about Wolves for
Perfect.
so many times. I think most of the projection models are market based, right? And I think that is most of the time really good and gives a really good indication. But I think overall, if we look at how Wolves has performed compared to how the markets have evaluated them pre-game, there's been cases with Liverpool, for instance, and it's the same this game week where West Ham is projected at 1.66 goals, or how we clean the markets, right?
Mm.
This game week against Wolves, and when I look at the expected goals data for the teams season long, I can't make make that make sense. Even Wolves are unexpected goals performing better away from home than at home, and I know that's obviously also noise, but I think they're a bit too far off here. Like West Ham has 1.14 expected goals per game on average, and Wolves have 155 conceded. That doesn't make sense. That's bottom half. Both of those numbers can make it up to 1.66 in my opinion. It should be because you think, oh, Wolves will just like whatever give up. But I don't think. I think that's too early still. So I think just by that should take the top off Jared Bowen, and then he becomes like just the level of Thiago, and Thiago is better over the spectrum of 32, 33, 35 than Bowen is, and then it's just a hold instead. That's how I see it. If you want to hold, you can still.
Yeah. I'm not set yet, but I know definitely I'm not gonna pick Bone. So that's for sure. Mbemo is definitely not set. I couldn't afford Saka. I was willing to go there because I think Arsenal is just playing mind games there. I think he's completely fit.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything, and he didn't play in Lisbon 2 days ago. So I haven't really read anything, sniffed up anything that he's like fit or not fit. But it wouldn't surprise me to see he started against Bournemouth. But with what we know right now, I just can't get myself to pick him as a 1 week punt if we said that I was going wildcard 33 or something. I just can't.
Yeah.
With pure
Yeah,
information,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah, I mean, I of course also. Yeah, sorry.
No, I think the team looks. I mean, I think Mbeumo was a great shout. I mean, I'm someone who's always been a big fan of him. I also love a midfielder who plays a striker. That's like the second that checks a box, I'm like, okay, when can I buy him? Can I get him as express order? Like it's getting in my team. And Mbeumo would have been more in my team if it wasn't for like the Dorgu competition and this kind of stuff. And his form compared to his first half of the season has been really different. Yeah, I think it's a great punt. Actually, I do like it. I would even like. I don't know. I'm not a great fan of Saka, but Saka might be a more safe option because you already know that Arsenal will be playing their best 11 against Bournemouth because they need to win. They want to save the win. So that's also an option. I also would not be surprised. Like there, yeah. I don't know what also other options could be even.
There would be some good old Alex Scott propaganda going
Of
on.
course. Yes, of course.
Yeah, how about this
No, but
Bournemouth guy that we never heard of?
but yeah, I kind of like this. I just need to figure out what I'll do with Mbemo. But Thomas, did you ask if I was going for first because you think this is a team that smells of go catch Eric?
Depends what their strategy is, right? No, I think partly yes. I think having 8 attackers that are having attacking output, so like no DEFCON midfielders, is a good way to actually try and chase that to get like single outcomes that will only come in handy for you. I think if you want to do it, I think like the triple Brighton is great. It could even, I mean, I don't love taking out Tavernier because he's been like, even without pens, really good recently. But like triple up ×2 on Bournemouth and Brighton. Could be interesting and could also be one strategy if you get like Darlow actually had a shit game and then he doesn't play kind of thing. You could gain a lot on the field in 2 ways in a move like that. I like them because no one is gonna have him, but it could also be a different player. Yeah, I was just curious.
I don't know.
Yeah, and one more comment. Well, your Mbomo punt, it also gives flexibility because you have two Manchester City players, so you can either go the most obvious transfer, Gabriel to Nico Riley, but you can also do like cheeky stuff like Mbomo to Cherki or even Rodri. So that's also it leaves these options open as well.
Yeah, I think if so far my plan would is to go Gabriel to O'Reilly. Um, I don't know if my strategy overall is too aggressive, but compared to what some of Eric's comments about Ampadu and stuff like that, I totally get it. I think it's a super viable route, and also yeah, Alex Scott. Now that I've heard his name more times than any player, but I don't know. It's to be honest, for me, it's make it or break it kind of thing. Um, yeah, and yeah, that's all. That's all. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Who are you
Should we
gonna
take
take
some questions?
Mboma out for then? If you're gonna take him after the double game week?
Mm, haven't decided yet. Haven't decided yet. Don't really because this teams also leaves very almost no room for there would be some potential Brighton players that you could look at, also Bournemouth players. Then there's Thomas and Simon has mentioned Rodri. I don't find him that interesting. I do see that his DEFCON numbers is quite good, and his expected goal involvement has actually also been quite good.
For
But
Rodri, like Manchester City, Rodri.
yeah,
Hmm?
yeah.
But you'd have him
Um,
instead of Semenyo.
no, then it would be instead of Mbemo, and then I would go somewhere else for Gabriel. But I'm likely not going that route.
Mm.
Um, I think yeah. Um,
Positive Enzo news, right?
what?
There was positive Enzo news today from Romano saying that they cleared the air in Chelsea or with
Oh,
Chelsea.
really?
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
actually quite a
you could
huge
just
boost for.
join me and sell Bruno for Enzo next week. That's a
Hmm.
winner move.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
also quite a huge boost for free at 33 and
yeah.
maybe even wildcard 33.
Wait, for
Because
what?
like
For what was it? Sorry.
Enzo,
Enzo
Enzo
Fernandez.
Fernandez.
He's not in at 33 or what?
He's
He.
there was over the international break he said some positive stuff around Real Madrid, so that's why he didn't play and won't play the next game week, right? They just were out
Yeah.
saying that the air is cleared and there was no intent of like taking down Chelsea or whatever it was.
Okay.
So everything is fine now. So we will expect him to play in
Hmm.
both games in game week 33.
I mean, if I had to pick three Chelsea assets in a double game week and I'd try to go all out, I would go Enzo Palmer Jao because Enzo's attacking
Hmm.
numbers are the best for any Chelsea
Yeah,
player in the league.
yeah.
So like if I
Yeah.
had to pick if this was my draft, like if this was my wild card right now, I'd be going Enzo instead of Mbuemo. I'd be going Ampadu instead of Tavernier, which is maybe insane, but maybe I just value DEFCONs too highly. I maybe just a DEFCON whore, that might be. And then
Point
the
the
triple
We
turn.
all
city,
are.
like the triple city. I That's also the only thing I thought about is like why would you not want triple city in from now? Um, that's my only because I feel
I
like O'Reilly, for example, I feel like he might play even if he doesn't, even if City are out of the league, because he's fighting for a World Cup spot. You know, yeah, that's my thinking.
yeah. So if I had to yeah, I don't fuck. There's so many rules, right? There's so many things. In my head, I want to keep Gabriel for the Bournemouth game. I really like stacking up on Brighton against Burnley. Then it would mean, okay, sub out a Bournemouth player, get O'Reilly in. That would probably be Hill out, O'Reilly in, and then I could also, yeah. I mean, it's an option. Um, yeah, and yeah. Some of
It's
this
hard.
also just feels fucking ludicrous to spend so much time, trying to figure out what fucking 15 players to field in an online game, but it's the best, man. It's the best.
Yeah. And especially if you're in my position or Thomas' position, because like no one other than a few engaged managers will remember that you actually finished in the top 10,000, while you guys actually has the chance to win the whole thing. So it's kind of silly that we are here, both of us.
No.
No, I
It's great
mean,
you're here.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, Thomas is on quite a journey, trying to become the world's
Indeed.
greatest. That's also something. Um, do we have anything? Should we answer some questions? Thomas,
Yeah.
do you have something interesting to show us? Do you have anything on your mind?
Yeah, I can.
Can I ask Thomas a question about the Triple City? Why
Yeah.
did you not want the Triple City like from 32? Why would you not want that? Like, are you worried it's gonna go wrong for City? Is that what the concern is? And then you have Triple City, or what are you thinking about that? Because I think a lot of people are just considering going Triple City and Wildcard 32. Like, no debate. Like that has to be done. Yeah,
Are you asking me or Jeppe? Or both?
Thomas,
You.
or both of you, all of you, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason being two things. So it's not extremely important to have the third city spot locked in game week 32, as they play Chelsea. So that's one thing, right? I don't mind having the extra time to assess where the title stuff is going. I'm not sure it makes a big impact on which third city I will have, but it's still nice. What it does impact is how many of if you can take my draft up again,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeppe, because I have 3 single game week players in Gabriel, Bruno, and Thiago. And if City is like basically lose the league this game week, then I think I will sell Gabriel, Bruno, and Thiago next week. And that impacts where I'll put my City spot too. Whether I'll put Rodri in mid, whether I'll put Nico O'Reilly, or whether I'll put Mark Gahey, and I have to put someone in next week, and that might as well be a City player because I won't need the City defender this week against Chelsea. So getting another week of information, where is Nico O'Reilly with everyone basically fit in the City team? I might as well take it and wait with that spot this game week. And if it happens so that Arsenal lose this game week and City are definitely in the run for the title, then I will probably not sell all 3 of them, and then I'll have to make a different decision, and then I'll probably just sell Gabriel, I think, and then put in Gahey or Nico O'Reilly.
Another.
Is
I
that
just
not
want
like
to
a
go
bigger
down
argument then?
and I'd rather not have the City asset now because I'm more comfortable locking others.
Fair.
Also, if I
Another.
put in Nico O'Reilly, I won't play him against Chelsea. I'll play Senesi against Arsenal instead.
Oh, yeah, and that was
That is
actually what I was trying to say.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry if I interrupt you, but one of the things that's obvious for game week 32 is that if you don't go Nico O'Reilly, you also don't have a City defender versus your double Chelsea attack, which is always nice that you don't have attackers facing your defenders. So that's just another nice point for going or waiting, bringing Nico O'Reilly in.
I can
Yeah.
just can I do like this? No. Oh, here we go. Holy macaroni. Okay, what was that? Is that the screen? Okay, let's see what
I mean, would
happens
there
here.
not be more of an argument then to go wildcard 33 then, so you have more information there? You know?
I get too much juice out of the bench in 33. But yeah, that's
I just wanna. There's 10% chance, 15% chance that I'll go Hail Mary and and almost roll this week with the kind of this team ish. The only thing is the Iggy what looks terrible now. But there's 10% if I have like a manic day, kind of a bit bipolar, neuro divergent day, then
we can
then
see
then I might.
Jason's X profile now.
Holy shit, yeah. Jason also good. Where was I? Here. There. Um, then that would be roll, but it's also at the same time hoping for for that 1-1 City Chelsea game, and Burnley stealing a point from Brighton in a draw. I mean, the swing would be insane with so many people wildcarding that. Of course, I do have to hit my players here. They do have to score, but I think it's and then of course wildcard in 33 and free hit in 34. But then when do I bench boost, and it also feels like a very very risky strategy. But I just want to put some sauce in the stream here.
Yeah, I'm someone who thinks that if you have all 4 chips left, that wildcard 33 is quite underrated. Especially because like I feel like all of our arguments are I feel like are about we need more information. And if everyone's doing that move, why is that the correct one? And I could so easily just go wildcard 32 because every single other person is going to do it, and that might be the safest play for me to protect my lead, But that might not actually be the smartest play in terms of we don't actually know. We have no idea what the correct move is. It's actually so funny how I feel like this really swings on it if Burnley gets a clean sheet or not. That's really what I feel like the difference is here. Do I think Burnley's going to get a clean sheet? I wildcard. Do I not think they're going to get a clean sheet? I keep my team. That's kind of how it feels right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 18 points or 6, that's such a huge swing if I go triple Brighton against Burnley. But Leeds
You
and
can,
Burnley
you can manage it a little bit and not go triple up in your defense.
Yeah, I don't think I would go tripled up. I think I'd probably go Raya, Verbruggen, Van Heck. No, I mean Gabriel, Van Heck, and Verbruggen, and then probably go. Yeah, I don't even know who the third defender would be. That's the hard part. I'm probably just bring O'Reilly in just so like I have a Chelsea player because I feel like, in my personal opinion, I think City's going to go all out against Chelsea when they have only the league and FA Cup to play for. So I think they're going to play their best starting 11 against Chelsea. Yeah, I don't know. And City at their best at the end of the season, they're a different beast. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't know. But also, as someone who doesn't have many free transfers, I kind of want to invest for the future. I'm not as scared about bench boosting later, I think. Because I'd rather wildcard into players that I know would be kind of good, I don't know. I think I'm very worried about getting dead-ended in 32, where I feel like I just have the game week ends up being terrible. Brighton don't get their clean sheet. Holland doesn't end up scoring. Semenyo and Holland do nothing, and then you kind of just score like 10 points from 5 players we just brought in. That's my concern with Wildcard 32. Compared to just not having like a team that looks great. I'm worried that just the hype of talking about that how much Wildcard 32 is, that's actually not the play. It just sounds really interesting because everyone's talking about doing it. But when I look at this team, which has been like template for pretty much the whole season other than Holland, why would I want to remove that? Is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
if people want to find Eric's team pretty fast, there is actually a very very fast way you can do it. If you go into overall, and then you get this view here, and then he's just here. Like it's a few clicks to get there. Here's the beautiful team. Everton fan. Okay, goodbye, Eric.
Yeah, there's not
No,
many of us. There's not many of us.
but
I mean, I'm like for next week, double Newcastle against Crystal Palace. I love it. Triple full Liverpool
mm,
against Fulham. That also
mm,
seems fine. Uh, Triple like Arsenal against Bournemouth, who I think are going to play their best on 11. I don't know. I don't know. It's. I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily going to play their best on 11 because they do have Sporting in the midweek, so they probably have some kind of rotation. Yeah, but I think Thomas's arguments of like wanting to invest into players who won't get rotated out because of like World Cup stuff or Champions League and stuff like this, I think is also a super fair argument because you're getting into players that will play 90 minutes no matter what's happening in the background, which I also think is really important. I don't know. I
I
am so
mean,
confused.
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
I
same.
think like, I don't have a team that looks very good in this coming game week. That's why it's very obvious for me that I have to do it now.
Yeah,
I can see why you're not so certain.
yeah.
like
I
I would
mean,
have.
if you were not first, I would love having this team and not own Haaland this coming game week.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean that's why Wildcard 33 looks so attractive to me
Mm,
Yeah,
because then I can roll to 2, Wildcard 33 with full information. I get to free hit 34 to the best team possible. I get to
yeah,
double. I get to bench boost in 35 with 3 transfers to whoever I want. I get to bring Henderson in, who can just be my backup goalie, guaranteeing me a double game week in 36. Yeah, and I could bring in. I could have like my bench could be that could literally be my bench, the one I have there, for example, just with Holland, of course. Yeah, like
yeah.
I mean, I've genuinely considered just bringing in Holland for AKTK now, just doing that transfer right now, just so I can have Holland in, because I'm not a fan of AKTK. After watching him against PSG, I'm so scared. And Liverpool, and City, I'm worried. I'm worried. Yeah,
You do know
but I
that
can't bench. Yeah, yeah,
Iketike played in Vejle a few years ago, so
I
you
know.
know he's on his worst days he's really really bad. But Vejle is a Danish club in Denmark here. But oh yeah, okay. I mean I totally get. So I think it's you're in such a crazy position because
Yeah.
it can almost come down to two games. It can come down to the Burnley Brighton game and the City Chelsea game. If those two games becomes, let's say, 1-1, right? No clean sheets, no fucking, and there's a goal from Kusanov or some shit, right? And all the Pablo Walker players they kind of blank, and if you then just roll this team and it rolls that way, it's the swing is so insane.
Mm,
I mean, it
Yeah,
would be like
that's
a
what I'm looking at. Like that's why I also thought about bringing in Holland just for the game to think if I really want to play
yeah,
this like as my swing week, Holland and Kitiki right now and let it run. Yeah,
mm,
yeah. I mean, the swing would be insane. The swing would be crazy insane.
because
Or it
I
could
would
be, of
get
course,
triple Arsenal against Bournemouth at home. Sounds incredible. Like why would I want a wild card out of that? Like you can't convince me out of wild card out of that. That does not sound smart. I don't know.
no, no. I
And
think
then
I
Thiago
think
against Everton, who scored a hat trick. Gordon and Thiago against Crystal Palace seems great. Triple up Liverpool. That kind of worries me because Liverpool have been disaster class in my opinion. And I get Bruno either way. So like I have Bruno cap. Everyone's gonna Bruno cap. If you don't Bruno cap, I get it. But I think Bruno cap against Leeds at home, that should be nailed. You know.
mm.
of course, of course,
Yeah,
of
I
course.
agree.
no
So
way around it.
for me, it's like if I let this roll, I'm sitting here praying that Brighton's gonna score, that Burnley's gonna score for on Saturday. You know, yeah, it's
I
it's a weird
mean,
one.
if you
It's a weird one.
roll, you can look at it this way. If you roll and I do this wildcard here, and we do get the Brighton clean sheet with a banger, with a haul from Van Heck, and the Chelsea City game becomes a 2-2 game with a nice Semenyo goal and a Palmer goal. Then it's a then it's a 50-point swing there easily. So it's crazy decision. I think you do have quite some balls if you I mean, Simon, what would you do in his
Yep.
position?
Yeah, but I covered this partly in my game week 32 thread, and he's like a special case. He's in a unique position. He has Anthony Gordon, he has Soboslai, and he has another Newcastle player as well. He almost all of his teams have brilliant fixtures for this game week, and he only has one transfer. I would definitely wait a week, roll the transfer, and then wildcard 33. And as I said earlier in this stream, he's like a bench boost ahead of basically everyone. So then he can adapt to whatever happens uh, during this game week and rely on triple Arsenal, which has been really good so far. That's my
But
thoughts.
what would you do? Would you, let's say you were the
Hmm.
number one, would you do wildcard 32 to kind of maybe protect your rank? That would be the assumption, right, for the strategy?
Hmm.
Or would you let's say wildcard
Yeah,
33 if that's
yeah.
the other
We
route?
also have to remember that many people also in the top 10k and top 1k and so on have used their wildcards, their free hits, and so on. I'm not sure what's going on in the top 10 because like I'm not in a
Yeah,
position to like have
only
researched that. Maybe Eric is.
number two, number four. They're the only ones who have all four left.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Yeah. And Eric has all four left, so there's basically for me only two strategies, and that's wildcard 32, free hit. Bench boost 33, free hit 34, and treble captain 36. That's the one option, and then there's what Eric obviously maybe advocates a little for is wildcard 33, free hit 34, bench boost 35, and triple captain Holland 36. Um, and I would wildcard 33 with this team because it's so brilliant on paper for 32. That's my opinion.
Okay, interesting.
I'm so scared, guys. Like I feel like this is like that out like the deal breaking week for me. You know, because I'm so scared that if I let this roll, that would be the wrong decision. You know, but in my eyes, I even see it like, okay, imagine Arsenal doesn't get a clean sheet and Burnley and Brighton do. Like, but what? How are Brighton's stats for that even, Thomas? For Brighton getting a clean sheet against Burnley,
Thomas,
Oh,
Timeout.
stat me,
let's get
stat me, baby.
stats. Where is I got your screen somewhere here.
uh, I have a
Thomas, are you
feeling this
ready
is not
or?
good for wildcard 33. Oh, I think Brighton have done brilliant recently, but let's have a look.
Yeah, so this is something I built for myself, but it's basically Team XG. So this one over here is the home and away expected goals for the teams, and the home and away expected goals conceded for the different teams. So if we take Brighton here, we get a list of all their fixtures this season and how their expected goals conceded have gone. You can see down here on the graph as well. If we take and let's do this. This is the last 10 game weeks. You can see Brighton is second for expected goals conceded over the past 10 game weeks. Like on average, right? And they even faced Liverpool.
I hate this so much. I
I mean, it's short term, right? But like, there's a lot of
Yeah,
talk about like Ursula having now the same team and blah blah blah. Is there something in it? I'm not sure,
but
but
who's in
uh,
first place? That's Arsenal, right?
yeah.
That's kind
and
of a comfort
they
blanket for if Eric were to wildcard 33. So it's basically
Yeah.
flipping a coin.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels right now. But I feel like at the same time, I feel like by wildcarding 33, I do no wrong in a kind of way. Does that make sense? Like I'm playing
yeah.
the safe bets because I get triple Arsenal, I get Trouble, which is playing put as getting deployed as a 10 again, which is great. He's on free kicks and on corners, like that's what you want from a 10. I have Wilson. I mean, I think I'd have Raya. I'd have Raya against Bournemouth, Gabriel and Rice. That's great. Gahey against Chelsea. That's fine. Virgil against Fulham. I don't know. I don't know. All the matchups are great for the team I would hypothetically have. But my other thought is if everyone's going to wild card, why not just match everyone else who's also going to wild card? Yeah, that's also my thinking.
I think I just took a look too, Eric, and I can see that second has 4 free transfers, just like you, all 4 chips. That will probably mean that the one in second place will be more likely to wildcard now rather than later.
Mm.
But the opposite part for that is that if you do the same strategy, you're three free transfers behind, which is also a little bit shaky. So if the title run goes in very long, it may be hard for you to come back compared to the one in second. So I mean, even then,
I see the one
may
in
even be
second.
better
To,
than strategies.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, I mean I see the guy in second place. I see him wildcarding 32, getting 3 players who have good matchups like you did, with getting probably get Thiago in, maybe get him Buemo or Saka, whoever he feels. Then getting to 33, getting out, and Buemo, just getting those all out for doublers, excluding Bruno to get a huge bench boost with that. I guess that would be that's what my guess would be on what he's gonna do. It is a bit of a guessing game now because I kind of have to think about what the other people are gonna do. But then my hope is also that then my team in 32 would be better, and also his bench boost. The only real difference with my wildcard in 33 and his bench boost would be him having Leeds or Bournemouth or Brighton players scoring on the bench, which is also a bit like I don't know how much of a differential is that. That's also like a thing I have to consider. Yeah, like if I expect, yeah, it's a tough one. It's hard.
Indeed.
Spaceman also says wildcard 32 looks strong for second, as Thomas also said.
Yeah. And I think, as JC said, second and fourth, as you also said, Eric, especially second, because it's quite a bit down the range, right? The team in fourth, like it's another 13 points. Yeah, been mostly scared about Ian.
Yeah, no, I know he. That is where the biggest worry lies. Also, like the free transfer gap is what my concern is. That's also like if I did wildcard in 32, I'd still be having Gabriel and Bruno on my team. Like I'd only be having max two double game weakers for for 33, and I'd probably have a weaker game week 32 because I probably wouldn't want to use the transfer on getting a good player in just to get him out again. I probably want to use the transfer on that. Yeah, and then like 34 I'd free hit, and then 35 would all be at the same base pretty much because if assuming that number 2 then does use free transfers to change that out, we'd be looking at the same free transfers in 35 ish. Like it'll only be 1 or 2 apart, but at that point it won't really make a difference then. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's so good to have you on the stream because I feel so calm now. It feels like my decision doesn't even matter. Like you're number 1.
Then imagine having the shitty rank like Thomas and I. No one gives a damn.
No, we've just been extremely lucky. I mean, you need crazy luck to be up where me and Eric is. So,
Yeah, we have been very lucky.
um, yeah, guys, I think it's. I think we're heading towards the end of the stream. I think we've had currently 70 people are watching us, uh, and it's been great, man. It's been. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for spending your late evening here with me. And thank you for all the questions. I know we're never that good to answer questions. I think we could probably improve that. But
Should we do a couple of them?
yeah, should we do a couple? Okay, let me just scroll through
Let's
it
do
here.
it.
Let's see.
Someone wanted to know who to start about Wilson and Palmer quite a lot of times. I think Palmer's the answer.
Yeah, probably Palmer.
There's a Ryan
Okay,
opinion too. I think Scott is like the best Bournemouth asset.
okay, we got
In
one
mid-run,
here.
if not Tavernier. Oh, I mean Tavernier and then Scott.
Yeah. So one is asking, should I be more inclined to go for differential chip strategy if I'm outside of top 100k? I'm torn between wildcard 32 and wildcard 33. He kind of, you know, yeah, it does seems like he wants to break into the top 100k and is looking at a differential chip strategy. So it's it's yeah, it's hard to answer when we don't really have his team, I guess, because it's extremely team dependent whether you go wildcard 32 or wildcard 33. I think you need a team like Eric's team or close to my team to go wildcard 33. Um, that's
Also,
my
in that range, I'll just pick the best overall strategy, and then maybe pick a few odd players that are a little bit off template. Um, that would be my take. Depends how far you are, of course. But if you're not that far breaking, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, totally agree. Another question here is Enzo worth a punt over a Brighton or a Leeds midfielder? Definitely not
I
now because
definitely like
but Enzo
for
is
game
not
week
playing,
33.
right? Ah,
No, but
he
he's cleared
doesn't
now.
mid
Isn't he cleared? Isn't that what it was?
He will not play. Or well, we expect him not to play in game week 32, but both in 33.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
So
I mean, if he does play in 33, he's just a great asset, really great asset. Has anyone looked at, okay, this is spicy. Has anyone looked at free hit 34, wildcard 35, and bench boost 36 or 36, 37, 38? Has any of you looked at that? Free hit 34, wildcard 35, and bench boost in the last three?
Well, if you have a normal team and have managed through the blank game week 31, you don't have that many double game week players for game week 33 because like City blank, for example. So it would be impossible to manage uh, in a that would be quite impossible to manage in my opinion.
Yeah,
yeah, I think it could, like, if you do like use the model for it right now, I think you can probably get something that looks pretty good. But I think there's too much uncertainty around. Like there's no, like, you can, it won't get better, but it can get a lot worse from what we're looking at now. So I would try and, as we said earlier, go now rather than later for most of it, especially the bench boost in 36. That can be like a very terrible experience.
yeah, that can, yeah, I mean, yeah, uncertainty in FPL is something to take quite serious. Would you play Pedro over Elliot Anderson this game week? Another question here.
Who does Nottingham play for?
Villa, right? Home,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
yeah.
I mean, if you want to get a safe 4 points, I go Anderson. Yeah.
Probably go with him as well.
I don't. I've never been a Palmer fan. That's like my problem with wildcarding 32 is I just don't see Palmer doing anything. I mean, I think I read that like half of his expected XG in his last 5 games is only from 1 pen. So that was like, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a Palmer fan. I don't know. I feel like it's very hit or miss with him.
By the
I
way,
think
we need
you're right.
yeah, we need Spaceman in our live stream every day. He's insanely active.
Yeah.
It's so good. But he got a question for Simon. The most important question of this stream here. He says, I would like some advice from Simon on who I should triple captain in anti-FPL.
Oh, nice one. Like, I'm completely out of the anti-FPL loop right now, because like I made a team, but I think I haven't been active since like game week 8 or something, where everything basically went wrong in an anti-FPL fashion, meaning that my anti-FPL team outscored my team that's now ranked 3K by like 30 points. But you should definitely first of all have a look at the fixtures, and let me just have a look to give him the best answer possible, like, because
Can you
anti-FPL,
just
for
quickly
those who are not,
yeah.
yeah, so it's about scoring the least points. Well, in so quite the opposite of the main purpose of FPL. And then there are some rules, meaning that if you have a non-playing starting player in your starting 11 that doesn't play, of course you get a player in from the bench and so on. And if, like, let's see, at least 3 of your players don't play, or 4 of your players don't play, you get a punishment of I think it's plus 9 points for each non-playing player, which really sucks for anti-FPL. 9 points is a lot. And then there's also some budget restrictions, meaning that you can only leave or you have to have less than 3 million in your bank. That means that they creates some kind of nice meta game where you have to have some of the expensive assets like Haaland and or Salah on your bench, meaning that you have to have players in your starting 11 that actually play but doesn't generate points. That's long story short. And then he asked for which player should triple captain, and now we have Defcons, which is like poison to anti-FPL, because like then you normally shitty defenders actually can gain points by defensive contributions, which has shaken up the anti-FPL metagame quite a lot. So I would just take let's say a midfielder or forward that usually gets a 10-minute cameo. It would be quite nice if they racked up a yellow card or something. There's this Fulham guy named Tom Kearney. He's an anti-FPL legend because he's like always spending only the last 10 minutes on the pitch, and he rarely scores, and sometimes he gets a yellow card. So I'm not in the anti-FPL meta right now, but in general, Tom Kearney is a good shout. He's from Fulham.
I th- I think a good I haven't played it before. I think I would just take the piss on it, and I would probably triple captain Salah. I mean, that's a good. It will probably
Yeah.
end well with.
Fuck. I should have answered
Yeah,
that. Nice one.
I think that would be a ballsy move, and I think it's honestly an okay strategy because there's
So you
high
mean the
chances of
player
him
that
being.
Thomas captained 2 game weeks ago is actually gonna be your anti-FPL captain?
I think I did the same actually. So yes, I think me and Thomas we were both on the Salah. I can't remember, even though it's just 2 game weeks ago. But yeah. Um, okay, I think that's about it, right, guys? I think Crystal Palace
Oh,
is.
there was
Yeah.
one. There was one question that I just wanted to answer from Oliver.
There.
I think
True,
bench
true. Yeah.
boost, wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. That's like the safest play I think you can go. Bench boost
Mm,
36 is too risky, is what I'd say. I think that's also what we just talked about. Like
mm,
it's too, there's too many things we don't know, and there's too many variables we don't know that reading it so late might not be worth it. So if you're gonna go really safe with it and go templates, wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I totally agree. I also think that wildcard 32 and free hit 33 is a bit eliminates the kind of the effect of wildcarding 32 in a way, right? Because you want to set up your team for 33. So it's I totally agree with you. Um, okay, and now the chat is going
Amazing.
all anti-FPL. So
Yeah.
and
I'll
we
play
got.
next season. I'll play next season again.
I think I'm just gonna move the screens around here so we can see the real goat of FPL. Yes, there he is, and he'll be in everyone's team now. Okay, guys, it's late here.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining. Thank you, especially to you, Eric. Number one, really appreciate it. You've been
Yeah,
all
yeah.
around the FPL community. Um,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
anyone got any last
Yeah. Yeah. Remember to activate your
note?
wildcard now, because price changes if you're actually gonna play it in 32. That's a public service message.
Yeah, we got some price changes coming up. Okay, I need to figure out how to end this stream and see you tomorrow. Remember deadline tomorrow. So and have a good game week, everyone.
See
Thanks.
you
It was
guys.
a pleasure.
See you guys.